My name is Caroline, and I'm here at the Western Avenue Studios, here for their studio tours and loft tours. So this is a great once-a-month event on Saturdays, and the artists show off their studios, where they produce their artwork, they have their businesses, and they sell their craft. And here in December is a great time to buy locally owned crafts, gifts, and more, as well as meet the local community and meet the artists who are the masterminds. Tell me about the business model of Western Ave. Is it for-profit? Is it non-profit? How does that work?
Well, for the first 17 years of its existence, Western Avenue was a for-profit real estate venture. It was a for-profit real estate venture with a big heart, but that was our model. And last year we were purchased by the Arts and Business Council of Greater Boston. And their mission is to work against the space crisis for artists in Boston and to preserve spaces for artists to be able to make their work. Sort of like creating a creative land trust, kind of preserving spaces that are culturally important. You can go to our website and there's a page called Spaces, and there's an inquiry form on there that you can fill out, and then we can send information to people. Our spaces are very affordable, and that's a very important part of our mission, is to keep Western Avenue studios and lofts safe and affordable for people to be able to make their work and display it.
How has your experience at Western Ave been?
I've been here for over 7 years. It was actually one of my own adult kids that found this place and said, you need to go. And I went on a tour, and then I got on the list. And to have everything to be able to stay out, because of course years after, you're raising my kids, everything had to be packed up all day, and then I'd bring it out at night, and I'd be like, how late am I going to paint? And now I can paint 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, 1 hour a day, whatever I want to do. I don't have to put anything away, and I can just roll into my studio, whether it's 2 feet of snow. So being in this space and having other creative people around is inspiring, because you're seeing what they're doing, and that's bouncing around in your head, and you get new ideas, and we understand each other as creatives, because one of the toughest things is going through life having people tell you to get a real job. And then you come here, and you don't need to explain that to them. And that's a blessing.
Can you tell us a little bit about what you're making currently?
Well, I have this whole series that I've made over the course of more than 10 years of these emotive heads. So when you look at them at first, if you're close up, they might look very abstract. And then as you step back, a lot of them evoke different emotions, often more than one. And they use materials from my life. So sometimes they're objects from my childhood. Sometimes they're things that we find on walks. I'm really attracted to all of the stuff in Lowell that's the gems that have been left over, like things that surface from the canals, things you find on the edge of the railroad tracks. All of those things live in my work. And I grew up in a really rural area, so I think that part of that need to use like the birch and oftentimes it's natural materials after they've died and giving them new life comes from me being a kid and loving being in the woods. That was like my first art making, I would say.
I'm an illustrator, and most of my illustration work is more on the anime style. So I like doing a lot of the anime graphics, and I like to draw people. And then with the AKM graphics, it's more of a graphic design agency. So I help companies with their branding. So we'll do logos, websites, any promotional material, animation, like so 2D animation, any whiteboard animation, that kind of stuff we'll help companies with, and some social media content.
So the holiday season's coming up.
Yeah.
Is your business ramping up to prepare for that?
Yeah, and this is my busiest fourth quarter to date.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
It's a big deal.
Thanks.
Outside of your business and outside of artwork, how else do you spend your time? How do you reinvigorate for your artwork?
Good question. other than going to a pub. I'm trying to get back in shape to play soccer again. That's about it. Yeah.
I make paintings right now that are pretty brightly colored with a lot of kind of obsessive detail and a lot of surreal and unusual imagery. But I reference a lot of pop culture and social reality and politics and stuff like that. But sometimes it's very subtle and sometimes it's not subtle at all. Since we both have day jobs that are related to art education, I was a high school art teacher at one point. Emily's an elementary art teacher now. But we feel strongly in the kind of educational value of the open studio experience. Most Americans in their lives don't really get to meet working artists or real life artists, and they have a lot of stereotypical or kind of cliched ideas about who artists are, what they look like, what they do, and that sort of thing. So we can have this experience. We open up the first Saturday of the month usually, and people can come in and ask us questions and look at the art, but also learn more just about how people who are dedicating their lives to the arts live.
So looking around at your studio space, I see so many patterns and colors, and it feels like a dream and just exciting. So how long have you been doing your art style?
So I graduated from Maine College of Art in 2019. So I've been, doing art for a long time, but 2019 is really when I took off and kind of created this brand, Eternally Weird. Ew, for short. I thought that would be kind of cute.
No, I love that.
Yeah. Page advice. I don't know. Don't take anything too seriously. Have fun with fashion and textures, I guess.
I don't know that much about pottery. I believe there's hand building and wheel work. What's your favorite? Can you describe the differences between those?
My favorite is both. So this is one of my most recent mugs that I absolutely love. So I throw the mug on the wheel and then I hand build all the little details on there. So you can actually do quite a bit. The possibilities are endless. And you can use glaze or underglaze and resist techniques, carving, it's called sgraffito. So many different techniques to get all these different shapes and intricate details. So I
gorgeous.
Thank you. I really love to combine all that different stuff and really show what's possible. So you can go hyper-realism, you can do more cartoony type of stuff. And I love experimenting and seeing how things can come out.
Where do you draw inspiration from for these patterns?
I look at plants a lot and root patterns and cellular structures and photos from the space telescopes, and so big things and little things and how they look the same from different angles.
How do you want people coming to your studio to view your art, and how do you want to have them be impacted by your art?
I love when they come in and go, that's a really good feeling. And people don't always, I don't want people to feel pressure to come in and buy something. I like myself to go look at art and take it home in my head or in my heart, and I still think about things I saw, when I was a child or 20 years ago. So I hope that they find something that makes them kind of stop and take a deep breath, and that they can take it home with them that way.
Being creative doesn't mean that that's going to be how you pay your bills. And I always tell students that come through here, whatever you do, don't make your art support you at first. If that happens, you're very fortunate. But if you can find some lateral profession, that takes care of the bills and the rent, this is the struggle that all creatives have. Again, people telling them to get a real job. Yeah, you kind of have to have another job at first. You have to take care of your art. You have to nurture it. It's a tender plant. Don't make it pay the bills. My UX designer child, she was also a custom framer. there's your dental, there's your paycheck, there's your, but it was still in the creative field. It gave her skills, that played into her photography art. So it's tricky, especially I think in this country, because we don't always value people who are just following their creative, venue, which benefits all of us, but they struggle. They struggle just to, exist and take care of all those economic things, and you feel like you're a luxury sometimes, and it is. If it comes down to it, the apocalypse, yeah, okay, art is a luxury. But aren't we so fortunate that, when you live in a place that has art, that means that other things are being taken care of and that you do have a society that values it,
I have a day job doing engineering design, but my sort of artistic calling is I'm a writer, and I write poetry mostly as of late. I've worked in other genres in terms of fiction and essays and things of that sort. I was even a singer-songwriter for a brief period 20 years ago. But as of late, I've been focused on poetry, and this past year I came out with a book. So,
very nice. What's the name of your book?
It's called The Champion of Doubt.
And what is The Champion of Doubt about?
Well, I think basically what I do is take notes in terms of the life I'm experiencing and the life I remember. And just as an artist does a still life without necessarily having a sort of overarching moral narrative behind a jug of water and some fruit, sometimes I just take pictures. And that sort of helps me, I think, make sense of why I'm given my own experience to experience.
I cannot say or stress enough about Western Ave and how unique and dynamic this campus is, this organization. It's not only incredibly supportive for artists in general, but it's a real collaborative environment. And my art and my life have really been transformed by being here and interacting with so many different people and artists of a huge variety of disciplines. So it's been an incredible experience. Not to mention that it's a built-in exhibit opportunity once a month, every first Saturday of the month. And so that in itself is an additional incredible benefit of being here because those open studios are held on a completely regular basis. So people get to know that that's what they do here. It's not a random thing. And so you can count on it. So that's just another one of the great benefits of being here.